Hello there, it's Adrian Brown from Be to Serve, and welcome to Interviews with Champions number 4. And as you can see, I have the amazing Doego Masciaga with me, and we are sitting here in the private dining room at the Waterside Inn. I'm very fortunate, I think, today because Doego, you've probably heard, has written this wonderful book, The Doego Masciaga Way. And if you haven't read it, please go and read it because it is an insight in itself. It's a beautifully written book, it's lovely. So Doego, before we sort of get to the interview, just a little introduction. I always ask this from one of my guests. Just a little introduction of how you got here today, as it were.
How did I got here today? Well, at a very young age, I'm from a small village in Italy, and obviously in that village in north of Italy, I didn't have much choice. I mean, the choices were very limited because it was a farming village. So obviously my choice for my future was either go to school, university, which I didn't like, or starting a career.
Yeah.
Now, career, what did I decide? My dream was my first dream was to learn languages, foreign languages. So I thought about it, how am I going to learn foreign language, but I don't like study?
No.
So I said, which profession would bring me to this? Thinking a lot about it, I said, well, the professional bring me to this is going into the service industry, catering, restaurant. So I decided on that, and I went to a catering school. A lot of sacrifice for my family because it was a private catering school.
Right.
This catering school is in Stresa. It's a well-known, renowned catering school.
And in those days, that wasn't cheap to go and do.
That wasn't cheap.
No.
That was very, very expensive. Especially, obviously, my family background was very humble, and I had to work for it. The school was obviously 6 months at school and 6 months at work.
Yeah.
Would that allow me to pay for my study?
Right.
I was lucky enough, or maybe someone noticed me. That
I don't think there's luck involved. I think it happens when you're in the right place. It happens. Yeah.
So I was picked to go to France to work in France. And I went to a beautiful hotel in La Baule on the west coast of France, owned by the Chaîne Barrière, Hotel Royal La Baule, and that was my first experience. I have to be honest, as I was so young, when they saw me arriving in the hotel, they said, "Oh, this Italian, what is he doing in France?" I mean, in France 35 years ago, Italians were good for construction and art, but not in those famous hotels. So my job for that season was looking after children.
Right.
And looking after, sad to say, well, not sad, happy to say that, pets.
Yes.
Because a lot of guests used to stay in this beautiful hotel with the
animals,
with the dog. So my job was to look after the children and the dogs.
Yes.
And I'm honest, for me that's what really opened my eyes to this world. Not because it was a dog, not because it was a child, but because of the owner of the dog and the parents of the child. I remember I used to bring this trolley with food for the pet or for the child, and the guests were very happy to see me arriving. The kids were very happy to see me arriving because they knew food was coming, and as well as the pet.
Yeah.
So, well, that was the beginning of my career.
So this is, in the book you have, when you were asked, what is service? It's service is pleasing.
Service is pleasing.
But I think when you say the word pleasing, when I read it, I went, oh, no, that doesn't fit, because pleasing, I sometimes think of, you can be pleasing to somebody, but there's not. Your pleasing is a lot more than
service
just pleasing.
Service is giving pleasure.
Yeah.
Is giving happiness.
Yeah.
Is making feel people happy, making feel people wanted, and making feel people noticed.
Yeah.
So that is how I started. And then I went to Germany. So that's the beginning of my career. Then I was lucky enough to work in a famous 3 Michelin star in France. In Lyon, called Alain Chapelle, was one of the king of the gastronomy of the late 70s, early 80s.
Right.
And there again, being very young, I was not allowed to work in the restaurant.
Right.
My job was to look after the patron, the owner.
Right.
Yeah? Because in those years, we had to serve the patron et la patronne.
Mm-hmm.
And for nearly 8 months, a year, I looked after the direction of the owners.
Yeah.
So I was there at 6 o'clock, serving their dinner, and that actually for me was maybe the best school ever, because Monsieur Chapelle teach me a lot about technique.
Mm-hmm.
Not maybe about attitude and so on, but technique.
Mm-hmm.
And technique, you need someone to teach you technique.
Yes.
Yeah? You cannot learn it just by yourself. You need someone to teach you. So that was Alain Chapelle. After Alain Chapelle, well, I said, that's it. Now I need to speak English. I'm learning English. It's very good to speak all those. But English, it was becoming an international language on a mid-80s.
Mm-hmm.
So I came to London, and I was very lucky to work at Le Gavroche in London with Monsieur Albert Roux, with the Roux brothers. On that time, it was not just Monsieur Albert. It was the Roux brothers, Monsieur Michel and Monsieur Albert. Mm-hmm. And I met a wonderful man there, and his name is Silvano Geraldine. Then at that time he was the general manager of Gavroche, and obviously icon.
He was Italian.
Yes, Italian. And when I arrived, I said, "Oh, the GM is Italian. Wonderful. He's going to be my friend. He's going to be my friend." Well, he became my friend a few years later. At the beginning, I was just, and the beauty. Then even if I was maybe the only Italian working at Gavroche at that time, Mr. Silvano always treated me like everyone else. And that was really, at the beginning, he hurt a bit, because I've been in the same country, come on, let's speak the same language. No. We used to speak French together. We used to speak French. So, anyway, Gavroche, a couple of years at Gavroche, then Monsieur Albert and Monsieur Michel opened a little restaurant in Pimlico called Le Mazarin, and I was sent there as a restaurant manager. And we got the first Michelin star after 4 months, which was a great achievement.
In those days, that was harder than
that was
today.
That was hard.
Yeah.
Also because the restaurant was on a basement, Pimlico basement. I remember guests coming from 5-star hotel in London, coming to this restaurant with the limousine, sending the driver down first to check what is this place here. It's a bit of a funny place. It's not Soho, but it's very close to be Soho. Yeah. And then once they set out the restaurant, allow the guests to come in. Yeah. And then after that, obviously the Roux brothers again, Monsieur Michel, Monsieur Albert, opened a restaurant in California, in Santa Barbara.
Oh right.
Yeah. Fun enough, called Waterside Inn.
Oh, there was one over there.
Yes,
I didn't
one
know
over
that.
there. Yeah, but it's not there anymore.
All right.
So here again. Okay, Diego, can you please go to California? So
now, because you've moved and so where is home for you?
Where is home? My roots. Yeah. My home. Yeah. Is my family. Yeah. It's my mom and dad. Yeah. And my wife. Yeah. My mom and dad. My mom passed away, but my family lives in Italy. Yeah. That is my home. Yeah. But indeed, I do have a home here. Yeah. And it's with my wife and my 2 daughters. Yeah.
And this is your work home.
And this is my work home. Yeah. Yeah. I would say sometimes I say, I live here and I sleep at home.
But I think, just listening to your story, there's a common thread there, which is the determination. And in the book, you mention, if you want to be really good at something, you have to let go of things, and focus and make that work. And I think when I'm talking to business owners today, especially in this industry, who start a business because they're passionate about it, and they have a dream, a desire, a vision to create something. This, like any business, it's hard work. Yeah. You have to work hard. Yeah. There's a phrase where, it's a great shame when you open the door to opportunity and it's dressed up like hard work. It's like, oh, what a shame. When the passion has run out, and it's not quite looking how you wanted it to, that's when you have to dig deep.
Well, you're right. I mean, I've been at the Waterside now for nearly 30 years. I think there is nothing worse than going to routine. Routine is a horrible word in our profession. Yeah. If everything becomes a routine, then the passion goes. Yes. The sparkle goes. Yeah. All disappear. You come to work, another day, another morning, another night, another guest. No, that's wrong. Routine is very bad, I think, in any business. What I think also is important is that when you start a profession, you have to focus in something, one thing.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 16, 14, I wanted to be a maître d' in a 3 Michelin star. That was my dream.
Yeah.
I didn't have no other dream. I didn't want to become a director of a company. I didn't want to become a banker or whatever. I wanted to become a maître d' in a 3 Michelin star. That was my dream. And obviously speaking the languages and so on and so on.
Yeah.
I got there, obviously, when I came here, the Waterside in 1988. And I started here at the Waterside as an assistant manager for a few months. And then I was the restaurant manager. I think it was April, May, in 3 months.
That's quite quick.
That's very quick.
Yeah.
That was very quick.
But
But it was on the plan.
Yeah.
Was on the plan. Yes, it was very quick. And obviously it was a big responsibility to take
Because how new was the restaurant at that time?
well, the restaurant was started in 1972, which
Okay,
is
so it
a
was
while.
11 years old.
Yeah. But the restaurant got the 3 Michelin star in 1985.
Oh, yeah.
So it was 3 years after the 3 Michelin star. I'm a great believer that achieving something very, very high, exceptional, is very, very hard. But to keep it
Is even
is
harder.
even harder.
Yeah.
I mean, now, today, we are 2016, we still have 3 Michelin star.
I'm going to ask you about that a bit later on because I want to, because I think you get to a point and you've reached your goals. So how do you sustain it going forward is a very important thing. And it's part of that bit about, the passion has to find a new place almost. But first question I want to ask you about, and it's from your experience, and I know that you've worked in the luxury market all your life, and so your view of it is from that point.
Only that point,
which is great. Because we had an interview with the wonderful Peter Hancock.
Oh yes, very well. Yeah.
And again, he said, Adrian, my whole life I've spent in the luxury world,
right.
which is fine. And I think the reason I'm
That's
doing
what we know. We know
but I'm
that.
doing these interviews because actually that's the target. Every hotel, every 3-star hotel that decides to have a restaurant would like it to look like this.
Yes.
This doesn't actually cost a lot of money.
No.
Because you still have plates and things, but the attention to detail, the passion that just, is it Francisco who said that?
Francesco
was setting up this morning, was just, the focus was absolutely there. And this is just so that we had a background for an interview.
That's right. Yeah.
But still, it meant it had to be perfect.
You have to be perfect.
And that desire and passion for that, I think, is a big challenge, especially for the independent hoteliers today. So in your experience of growing businesses and seeing businesses, what is the greatest challenge that a general manager has of getting the thought, the vision you have in your head
To the team.
right to the busboy, to everybody, but also in the middle? What's the biggest challenge?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is a challenge, yes and no. It is a challenge. But I'm a great believer that if you require respect from your team, and obviously you want them to follow you, obviously you want to do what you ask them to do, you have to respect them first.
Yes.
That is the priority. Respect your team. I come in the morning. This morning, I went to see my kitchen porter. How are you? Good morning. And you have to speak to them all in a different way.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're all in a different level or different state of mind. Some are family fathers, some are young people, some are a bit older. So once they know, then you respect them.
As an individual.
As an individual, they will come back to you. They will respect you. I didn't need this morning to tell Francesco, make sure I do it properly because I got an interview. No. I just came in, he was doing it, and he's done it perfectly.
Yeah.
And I could go over there and see my kitchen porter, and I know that the place will be perfect, clean.
Yeah.
So I think respect people is very important. Talk to people is extremely important, but talk to people and look at them. Not just talk to people and look there. No.
Wow.
Don't make them feel that they're just a person. Make them feel they're very important. That whatever they do, at any level, at the bottom level, medium level, or management level, whatever they do, is very, very important to you, to me,
Mm-hmm.
and in general to the business, and then obviously to the guest.
And in your book, you talk about training little by little, day by day.
Yes.
And I was interviewing Jeffrey Gilardi yesterday, and he has a very similar way of saying, no, there's training every day.
Every day.
And when I had my own hotel, and as I said to you earlier, Jeffrey gave me that great advice, which I talked about in my interview with him, but when I got there and I realised that piece, that it is just talking to somebody, making the eye contact, being interested in them.
That's right, listening.
Listening.
Listening is so important.
And, I had some very unpleasant experiences for myself of learning things that I was doing very wrong and changed, which is fine. But I think you have had to learn new things everywhere you went, because you've always wanted to attain height to that pinnacle where you want to get to, general manager 3-star restaurant. But when the person has started a restaurant and they're at the top, I think it's very difficult sometimes for them to get out of the way and let the people almost come and play with their toy.
Well, it is. It is. I mean, sometimes it happened to me, and sometimes obviously you've been in a place for so long and you're obviously the number one, and in a way you build your own monster. That's the word. But then you have to deal with your own monster.
Yeah.
But very important, very, very important. Make the staff know, and the guests know, and the owner know that you're not by yourself.
Yeah.
Let them know that you got other people with you. And sometimes, like on my position, I have to be on their team side.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Not just on the boss.
Yeah.
I have to support them, and they have to know that they are supported. Because if with my position of director of the company, I only go on the boss side, it doesn't work.
No.
They will feel left alone. Oh, Diego doesn't care about us. He's not one of us. I have to support them.
Yeah.
I have to support them. I have to talk to them. I have to make them feel then, they're doing it right, and then make them feel, not that I'm against the boss, because that is really bad, but they have to feel then they got someone there, then look after them.
I have a model which I use in my business about relationships.
Yes.
And I think every business succeeds on the effectiveness of the relationships between management and staff, between staff and staff. And the way I describe a relationship is every relationship has two unique things. It has a specific purpose and it has a specific dynamic. And when you look at the purpose, so if I was working for you as your employee, my purpose has to be that you're going to be the person who's going to guide me and direct me and nurture me and grow me.
That's right.
And I often ask directors in companies or managers in companies, what's the purpose of your relationship with a member of staff? And they'll say, oh, I'm going to help them grow and teach them and make them into a better person. And you go, great. And then I ask a question, what do you think your member of staff thinks the purpose of your relationship with them is?
It's very important.
And they stop and they think for a minute. And quite often the answer is probably to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
And they suddenly realise,
they know
the purpose is wrong.
It's wrong. It's wrong. The staff, as you said, they well, also you cannot just give orders and sit in an office. No, it doesn't work that way. Because if I come in the morning and I just give orders, you do that, you do that, you do that, and I sit in my little chair, it doesn't work like that.
No.
I have to be with them. Not that I have to do the job, but I have to be with them. I have to be around. Sometime in the morning, for example, I come in sometimes from the front door, sometimes I come in from the back door or the side door. But not to see if the staff, they're doing the right job. No. It's to see our guests will see the place if they come in different angle.
Yeah.
And I'm not there to catch them doing bad. No, it's not for that. It's just then they know that maybe today Diego comes from the front, but maybe he comes from the side. So everything is as Diego likes it to be.
Yeah.
And if a guest, for example, leave from the side gate,
it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay.
And you have, I think there's a gift you give to your staff in that situation, which is the gift of trust.
Yes.
And I trust that you're going to get. And the thing about trust is always, people will break trust, but not deliberately, as in maliciously, but they'll forget one day or they'll do it. And that's when you have a little moment to go, hey, by the way, just
remember.
Oh yeah, fine. Lorenzo Giannuzzi from Forte Village.
Yes.
I had the privilege of meeting with him last year, and he has this lovely phrase, management by walking.
Yes.
And it's just that continual, he said, when you see someone doing something good, you stop and you appreciate them for it, which isn't just saying thank you, it's actually telling them the impact of what they're doing good has.
That's right.
So they know the contribution they make. Go back to what Jeffrey said, it's about the contribution.
Contribution. If you don't talk to your team, if you don't talk to them man to man, or man to a young lady, or man to... it's no good for me to go around and see things that are not right and then tell my assistant to go and tell them. No, that's very bad. Also, you just said, trust is very important. You have to trust your team, and your team has to trust you. Trust, sometimes, not very often, I maybe take a night off or a morning off. And I know the night that I'm off or the morning that I'm off, they're not scared of making mistake. No. What they want is to make as good or better very often than when I'm there. So that when I come back, I don't have to deal with any problem. And for them, it's a pride.
Now,
we've done it. We've done it without Mr. Diego.
You've just touched on something which I think is really important, and I don't know if I'm going to explain this well, but so if I'm the owner of a business and I haven't got the confidence in my business, I'm not sure that I'm doing the right thing, I'm not sure I'm taking it in the right direction, I haven't got a clear vision, I can't communicate that clear vision. That is when the staff have a lack of clarity.
That's right.
And a friend of mine, Helena Holrick, who's a fantastic coach, and she's really good at helping people create their visions, but she has a phrase that clarity and certainty bring opportunity and choice. And I think you here, because of just the obviousness of me walking in, I see it when I walk into any building, I go, oh, everyone's very clear and very certain about what is expected.
Yes, that's right.
From the point of view of the guest, this is the experience we want our guests to have.
That's right.
And they understand it. And as soon as they have that, they have the opportunity to contribute, and they can make the choice to contribute. Right. And it sounds so simple.
No, it's feeling comfortable with what they're doing, not feeling uncertain. For example, if you serve a wine, then it's not right. You feel very uncomfortable. If I got sometimes inspectors, which we do have inspector, different guy, without saying the names, I'm very relaxed about it because I know they can move that plate, but there won't be a stain underneath.
Yeah.
And I know they can check the glasses and there is no chip on the glasses because I'm very comfortable with my product and I'm very comfortable the way I train my team, and because of that, they feel relaxed. They don't feel scared. You go to restaurants sometimes or to hotels sometimes when, I'm not saying they're hiding, there is no hiding, but they feel very uncomfortable with their product. They start, but that is to blame the management. It's not the staff to blame. It's management. It comes from the top.
Yes.
It comes from the top to make your team feel comfortable with your product, with what you serve, with what you give, and also sometimes with what you say as well. Because sometimes, you have to know how to talk to people, how to say, how is it to my waiter, chef de rang, maître d'hôtel and everything. Being in the service industry is not enough to know your product.
No.
You have to know more. General culture. I'm not saying you don't have to be a professor, you don't have to be a doctor, but the guest has to realize then you got a bit of culture as well. Very bad sometimes when the staff try to be more clever than the guest. That is horrible. Even in some fields, maybe you know more than the guest.
Yeah.
Never show it to the guest.
Yeah.
Never show it.
In the book you mention
Sommeliers.
being one step beneath the guest.
Always one step beneath. I got sommeliers, wine waiter, very often. Nowadays, sommelier, they go to universities, they learn a lot about wine and the chemical of the wine and everything. The guest doesn't want to know that. If he wants to know, he will ask. But it's not right for a sommelier or for a waiter or from a concierge to try to make the guest feel that he doesn't know as much as you. That is not service.
So I was talking to Jeffrey yesterday, and he said that after refurbishment, 70% of the staff are new.
Yes, yeah.
Right? He said, I've forgotten the challenge of continually bringing new staff on. Because I know you are so good, staff have gone from here all over the world.
All the world, yeah.
And in 30 years, that's a lot of people.
Yes.
That when a new person joins you, how do you bring them to the game, as it were?
I'm lucky because I run obviously a small operation next to some big operation. So we don't have an HR department. I employ all the staff.
Right.
I'm the one who pick them, the one who choose them. I understand the young person changing job at the beginning of his career quite often because that's normal. You know, you have to find your way. But then you reach a point in life, then you have to start to settle. You know, and if I see a young person, then in 4 years, 5 years, he's changed 12 jobs. I say, this is not right. This is not settled yet. I have to see the first 2-3 years, 6 months, a year, 6 months, and then settle it. Then what I'll do if I'm happy with that, if they live abroad, I pick the phone. I pick the phone myself, and I talk to them. If he's a young boy or a young lady, and I've got children. I call them around 10:30 in the morning. I know sometimes they're still asleep. But if I know that they really want the job, even if they're half asleep, they get up straight away. If they're not really interested in the job, it's going to be blah, blah, blah. So usually I spend 5 minutes on the phone with them and tell them what I really require, what I need from them. We don't talk about money or anything like that. We just talk about attitude. I can feel their attitude on the phone. Then when they arrive, obviously, I like to sit to them with them for half an hour, no longer, because more you talk to people, more you fill up their head. And I tell them really what I expect from them. And also I tell them, look, you have a manager in front of you, but remember you got a friend as well. I'm not here I'm here to bring you up. I'm not here to push you down. I'm here to bring you up, and I'm here to give you a career. I'm here to give you a profession, because sometimes our profession is not seen as a profession, it's seen as a job, which is very different, very, very different. And
goes back to what Jeffrey said,
That's right.
You do not recruit someone to do the job.
No.
And a professional is always going to come and contribute. It's going to bring something of themselves. That's what a professional does.
That's right, yeah. Professional is professional that bring you up. And what I tell them at the beginning, I say, look, I'm not expecting you to stay here 10 years. Because if you stay 10 years, it's maybe because you lack in a bit of... My priority is, I tell them, it's not... For me, the important is not how long you stay, but it's the way you live. Because the way you live, respect towards me, respect towards the property, respect towards the company is very important.
And I think we talk about millennials. And I was asking Jeffrey this yesterday, and I put the same question to you. It says, is it different? And have you had to change your management approach because of the changing employee? I think we have to. One of the criticisms I would have, not criticisms, but one of the challenges I think quite a lot of people who've come out and started a business on their passion is they came from a big industry and they haven't realised that actually to manage young people it's different.
It's very different.
And that's not right or wrong, it's just things have moved on.
It just moved on. I mean, I'm in this operation here, I could be the father or sometimes the grandfather of all my staff. So you have to learn, and you have to learn how to talk to them. I'm lucky, I've got children, I've got a wife, so I've got that a bit.
You've been trained?
I've been trained. I've been trained at home. I've been trained at home by my wife and my two daughters. And things that I understand now, maybe I didn't understand when I was 20 or 25. Now the time have changed. Young people need more time. They need free time, social media, etc., etc., etc. I don't believe on a 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. No, I don't believe on that. Why? Because we're all human beings, and if I want people to perform as I want them to perform, I have to be able to give them time off, time to rest, time to relax, time to do their own things. I cannot expect people to work for me 16 hours a day and say, oh yeah, you work 7 days a week, 16 hours a day, I pay you. No, it doesn't work. Even if you pay them.
To hear that is so refreshing.
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And you're a businessman and you have to make a profit.
Yeah, indeed.
And so often I hear the argument is that, yeah, but I can't afford to pay the staff more, or I can't afford to have more staff, or I can't and I look at the business and I'm thinking, your business is at this level, and actually the monster you've almost created is you've got stuck in this model of draining your team and not supporting your team.
That's right.
And so actually they can't get any better.
No.
There is no time to learn. The owner has no time to dedicate time.
And then they leave.
And then the people leave.
And then you have to recruit again and start again from scratch.
Or worse, they stay.
They stay.
And they damage the brand.
That's right.
You know.
They wrote in my book said it's very important to know how to hire and to fire. I never fire, very, very seldom. But a young person that has been working for me for 2 or 3 years, or maybe 2 years, and there is no available position to bring him or bring her up, because sometimes it happens, they don't leave. I can see then in their eyes, the sparkle is not there anymore. So what do? I think, okay, without them knowing, I called 2 or 3 of my friends that work and said, look, are you looking for a young person? And 99.9% is yes.
Because they all are.
And I find something very attractive for them.
Yeah.
And then I approached them and said, look, you've been here with me now 2 years. You've done extremely well. I'm so happy with you. What about you moving to Australia, USA, South Africa? I mean, you see their eyes, they just more or less cry of happiness. And what did I do on that? I made someone happy. Someone that give me 2 years of his life, I make him or make her happy because I move him up.
Yeah.
At the same time, I replaced that person with someone with sparkle.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that person will become part of my network, which is very important to have. I need everyone. I need everyone around the world. Network is so important.
Absolutely. And I think there's a myth that, you don't want to lose your good staff. Actually, by continually bringing people on and growing them and letting them move on and being out there, they take the reputation. If you've done a good job, the world starts to go, Diego taught that person. They're going to be good. There's an expectation.
And also, if one day I need someone, all I need to do is to pick the phone. Say, hey, John,
I need one.
That's it.
And they come back.
Afraid of losing good people very often is laziness sometimes of whoever is on top. If I lose him, I have to work again to trace out. And that is not laziness, but is trying to have a nice, cushy little job. I got all my little soldiers, then they've been here for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. They know all they have to do. I don't have to do anything. Wrong, because you need people to move on. You need also new blood. You need also, you never know. I listen to young people when they come, because they come from different places. They maybe bring me something new. I learn every day from those young people. I learn every day. They come from different restaurants, different hotels. Some are bigger, some are as famous, some maybe are just a pizzeria or a trattoria. Doesn't mean anything. They always bring something good. And if you fall on the thing, okay, I'm the king, I'm Diego, I'm the manager, I got my lovely chair, I got my nice soldiers here, they're all little general.
When I didn't come up with most of the ideas for my hotel, because we were an exclusive hotel just for business. So some days we had no client and no walk-in, because we didn't do that. And we'd be the customer for the day. You've never seen so many people in the ladies' toilet going, oh, well, that's interesting. And then the ladies go, oh, it's a boys' toilet. But the staff would come up with the ideas. They'd say, well, why don't we do this? It's different.
That's right.
And we go, okay, what do you need? And they go, oh, I need it. Okay, can you do it by tomorrow?
That's
yes. Try it.
Try it.
And very rarely we tweaked a little bit, changed a little bit, but 90% of the time, it worked.
It worked, and they feel good.
They feel good, but I feel great.
Because they brought something. You feel great because you say, look, it's right. And it's nice to acknowledge them.
Oh,
it's
always.
not just nice to say, oh, I'll take your idea. I'm not going to use them today, but I will use them in 6 months.
Yeah.
But don't tell them.
Yeah.
So when that person leaves, 6 months later, you're using his idea or her idea.
You've got to acknowledge them.
And it's wrong. I said, oh, yes, let's do it together. Let's do it together.
In the book, you talk about your lieutenants, and I think this is a piece that is so challenging for business owners to get, is that you can't do it all.
No.
You know, you need the lieutenants.
I need people with me.
And the relationship, going back to what I said about relationship, specific dynamic you have with those lieutenants is, you know, you're guiding them, but you're expecting them to feed back to you, and they are your role models.
That's right. Yeah.
I have a relationship model from 1 to 6,
Yeah.
and 6 is where there's your resource and
Yes.
to each other. You know, it's a wonderful thing. You have that relationship with your lieutenants, but then you have obviously the relationship with Monsieur Roux.
Indeed.
And is it a mirror of your relationship with the lieutenants? Are you in the pivot?
I have to be honest, I was very lucky in my life to meet Mr. Michel and the Roux brothers in general. Why was I very lucky? Because they trusted me. And very often, some proprietor or man don't trust. They always give 100% trust on me. And they allow me to do really, not what I wanted, but what I thought it was right for the company.
Can I just put a different phrase in there? Maybe, and I'm using my words just to clarify. Their vision for the business, they trust you with the vision.
Yeah, they trust me with the vision.
Yeah.
They trust me because they knew that my purpose of being here, it was to hold on to those three Michelin stars, but also because we have to put priority right. Priority is not the 3-star.
No.
Priority is one, is the guest happy. This is number one,
Yeah.
priority. Priority number 2 is to look after your staff, to make everyone happy. But also there is a priority, then it's a business.
Yeah.
And a business, I only believe on businesses that are profitable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to run a business that is not profitable.
No.
I have to make my business profitable.
Yeah.
I get every week, I call Mr. Michel, wherever he's in the world, and I tell him what I've done. You know, not what I've done number-wise. Number-wise. Because guess-wise is different. I deal with it. But number-wise,
Yeah.
I get great pleasure on telling Mr. Roux when I do a bit more than the year before.
Yeah.
Number of guests and revenue.
Yeah.
And I get great pleasure when I know the company do well.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the company pay me
Yeah.
to make sure then we make profit.
Yeah.
That is what Mr. Roux pay me. He
Yeah.
pays me to make sure that I do that. He pay me to make sure that I hold the 3-star. He pay me to make sure that in his place
It works.
it works.
Yeah.
If I was working in a restaurant where I would be only a flagship of a big company that doesn't need a profit, I don't know if I would still be here.
Yeah.
You see, I know a lot of restaurants do that. You know, they got the big chain, and then there is the flagship. The flagship doesn't need to make profit.
No.
The flagship doesn't need. It's just there as a flagship. No, I'm very different. We don't have subsidies here at the Waterside. We don't have any, and it's up to me to make sure that the company is profitable, and that my boss, Mr. Michel and Alain as well,
Yeah.
they're happy.
Yeah.
Yes, on the last, I would say, 30 years, the company has been very profitable, been very good, but it's not easy. It's not easy because money and quality, they hate each other. They don't like each other.
No.
You know, because if you only do something for money, then quality goes. But the problem, if you lose quality, then you lose money.
Yeah. And I think that where.
If you cut corner,
Yeah.
you're doing well for a week or 2 a month, but then on the long run,
But if you
Just
cut
cut
a corner because actually you know, let's say the chairs really do need refurbishing.
Yes.
But your people are still delivering here.
Yes.
I upset my chef once. I said that actually the product was only 30%.
Oh yes.
70% is the people.
It's people. We're still in a people world.
Yeah.
This is a people.
And chefs sometimes, but obviously Monsieur Roux understands this, because it's like, you know, the food is excellent. People come for the food, but they come for this experience.
Mr. Michel will be the first one to say, in my restaurant, the Waterside, Waterside is not made just about food.
No.
Waterside is made about the two together, the two working together. And he knows that, and he admits that he knows, because sometimes to ask a chef to admit that is very difficult.
Yeah.
Because in very many restaurants, chef are the artist, chef are the everything. But very often a lot of chefs fail because they don't have a front of house.
Yeah.
And I know many chefs they go
I'll tell you who has a lovely front of house is Tom Kerridge.
Tom Kerridge.
And his lady who's been there, I can't remember her name.
She's
now.
from Argentina.
Yes.
She's from,
but that is, again,
the two work together.
Yeah, you hardly ever see Tom, but the food is amazing, and she's brilliant.
When Mr. Michel is here to the point, and Mr. Ryan as well, they will come and ask me, can we go in the restaurant? Can we go to see the guests? Who shall we see? Who they won't just come in the restaurant thinking, oh, I'm the owner, I just walk around. No.
Yeah.
There is a respect. They will come and see me, Diego, today I want to go in the restaurant. Who is on there?
But that you just pointed out, I think, this thing about getting out of the way.
Yeah.
You may have had your passion, you started something, but you need to get to this point.
Yes.
Not where you got people doing there and you don't have to do anything, but you've got to get to a point where you trusted your general manager or your floor manager, whatever it is. Okay, you're now in charge.
Yeah.
And then instead of going, you can talk to the staff, of
Yes.
course you can, but you go through
to the right channel.
And because otherwise it becomes confusing.
Yes. If you go, say for example, if he comes in and he goes and see my deputy like that, and I'm there, it's not right.
No.
Come to see me, and he would do that. Diego, shall I go and see him?
Yeah.
And he goes.
Yeah.
And I tell him, I want to look, if you go there, you go there. And it's okay. And he's always done that, even from day number one, even when I was only 24. Not now that I'm 53, even when I was 24. He always did that. So Mr. Michel always gave a lot of respect to the front of house. But then obviously...
But not just the front of house. You are the leader.
To the leader.
Of the business.
To the
they are the owners of the business.
Yes.
But you are the leader of
because
the business.
now, you see, Mr. Michel is not here anymore.
Yeah.
He lives abroad and so on. So I'm a bit the face of the Waterside.
Yeah.
This is the point now. I mean, I come in here and sometimes, and that's, how are you, Michel? How is your brother in London? He's all right, he's retired now, he's all right. But then, if you say to them, oh no, sorry, I'm not Michel.
No.
I'm only Diego.
It's different.
People, if he's only 2, it's okay.
Yeah.
But if he's 6 or 8, you just have to...
So let me ask you one last question. You talked earlier about the difference of routine.
Yes.
Because rules and systems and processes and sort of like standards are vital.
Vital, yeah.
And once you've got it to the standard, it's there.
Yeah.
But in the book you talk about always
to keep
it moving, keep it learning.
Yeah.
But what for you changes it from routine to fresh every day?
Well, I'm an expert on that, and my staff hate me for that. They do hate me for that. For example, now we are in a high season, so I was always busy. Every day there is something new. Every day there is a new party, new function, wedding. But in October and November, things slow down, and that is when it's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. You can fall into routine because you come in the morning and you know the restaurant is not going to be too busy, the hotel is not full. So that is when I come in and I do not even put my head in my office. I can stay out. And what I do, I'm not putting things upside down. No, that's wrong, because then people will be lost. But I change few things so the staff mind is awake, keep them going. And if not, I do training. I teach them something that I was able to learn when I was very young. And they've not been able to learn because obviously they've not worked maybe in the right place or they haven't done it. So what I do, okay, today is quiet, okay, boys, I'm gonna do a Canarla press for you.
Mm-hmm.
All excited, super excitement for them. Doesn't cost me anything, it's only time, nothing at all.
Yeah.
Keep them excited, keep them focused on the job, and they learn something out of it.
Yeah.
Also, we organize wine tasting, cocktail tasting, a lot of things like that.
My housekeepers
Yeah.
always used to win the wine tasting competition.
Yeah, sweet.
So I'd have all my suppliers and I'd put all the wines out and I'd bring 3 bottles from my cellar and put the canopy over them so you couldn't
Yes.
see what they were. And so they'd taste all the wines and mark them for me, what they liked, what they didn't like. And then there was the 3 wines, the competition. And each of them had a card and it was like the year, the country, the grape, you know. And housekeeping always wins.
Very often that ladies are very good on tasting, very, very much better than us. Sometimes we drink, we don't taste. You know? But yes, it is. You have to keep your staff focused when it's quiet, not when it's busy. Also because the guest, when a restaurant or hotel is quiet, they notice more than when it's very busy. You know, when it's very busy, buzzy, people everywhere, you know, there is an atmosphere, there is something. When I know that I come in the morning and maybe I got only 40 for lunch or 30, that's my job.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
Big job for me to give an atmosphere like if there was 80.
Yeah.
So you will always see me on the floor, you always see me talking to guests, not so much about food and wine, yes, I can talk, but food and wine become a bit boring, you know, I mean, okay, food and wine is very interesting, but then it becomes a bit repetitive, you know, is to talk about other things, and that is how I train my staff, to teach them talk about geography, about travel, about sport, about general knowledge is so important.
Because I think you say it in the book, it's a performance, we have to learn how to perform.
Oh yes.
And, you know, you don't know the guest that well, necessarily. If they come regularly, you learn and learn and learn all the time. But you don't know what they want to talk about, and you don't know what they want to talk about.
And how they feel on that day. How they feel on the day. I mean, it's very important to know how a guest feels. You go out to a restaurant with your wife, for example, and you don't mind.
It's my fiancée.
And you don't mind if the waiter comes to talk to you about food and wine. But if you come in for business, last thing you want is to ask you, oh, how was your fiancée? How was family? No, you have to, you know, there is moment that you can talk to guests, moment you cannot talk to guests, moment they want to be left alone, a moment, so that is up to me. That is my job to detect that, but very fast, very quickly, because if you wait half an hour, it's too late. You know, there is guests who will only come and they want to talk about food all day long. Well, you have to do it. There are the guests, they don't want to be disturbed. It's nothing wrong with going in a restaurant. And it's 6 of you, 6 businessmen or ladies. And they serve the food. And your conversation, which is maybe on business sometimes, has to stop. Because the waiter or the waitress has to explain the food. And really ruining a conversation, and also can be a bit arrogant sometimes. Listen to me, I'm the waiter, I'm the waitress. I tell you then, this is the foie gras, this is the lobster. No, wrong, very bad.
Just
very
leave
bad.
it.
Leave them,
Get
leave
out.
them, leave them alone. Leave them, because on doing so you ruin a conversation. It's very impolite, very polite. You cut in a conversation. Maybe the gentleman or the ladies that may be selling their company for 10 million, and they don't want to know about the foie gras that is with the toast brioche. No, they don't want to know about that. They want to enjoy the foie gras with the toast brioche. Indeed, they want to. And I always say, what is service? When is service good and when is service bad? For me, service is good is when you don't see it. And it's there, but you don't see it, you don't feel it. Service is bad sometimes when there is not enough, or when it's too much. Too much. People overing you, people on top of you all the time. Give me a break.
And it's that point when you learn, I'll exaggerate, but if I'm leaning towards you, I want more of you. But if I'm leaning back, I'm quite happy.
I'm quite happy.
I don't need more.
I don't want more.
And
also
subtle.
It's subtle. And also when you talk to guests, just be sincere. Don't talk to guests because you paid to smile. Because in many restaurants, You see waitress, and waiter, and concierge. They smile at you, but you know.
There's no depth, there's no. It's on the face. Yeah.
It's all in the face. They get paid at the end of the month, and that's it. Wrong. When even if you serve just a bread roll, look in the guest eye, have the eye contact. The guest might want to talk to you. Yeah. The guest might not want to talk, but at least it's not good to serve a most beautiful dish and do it that way. No. Nah. I hate that. You know, you go to places, or also sometimes explaining that dish like if it was a poem, you know? Yeah. It's not a poem, it's a beautiful plate of food. And if I stop that person, then, like when you learn something, then you cannot you keep... repeating it. It's wrong. Yeah. If you stop that person, he's lost. Yeah. He's lost. Yeah. He doesn't know even what he's talking about.
You say in your book, always, the exit is most important.
Yes. It's the exit. You know, if you talk to someone, you shake his hand, you look in the eyes, and you walk. It's not good to walk around and say, you know, in this restaurant there is movement as well. Yeah. Horrible. I don't want those people. No. I rather have no waiter. Yeah. I rather always say, if you cannot do the service properly, leave the bottle of the wine on the table. Yeah. Guests would prefer to have that bottle of the wine on the table and have themselves than having someone there, then is served in the wine, but he doesn't do it genuinely. Yeah. He doesn't do it from here. No. He just do it because he has to do it.
We are so lucky in this industry because we get to make a massive contribution to our guests every time.
Yes.
We get to inspire them. We get to give them an experience that, as I think you're right, if we get it absolutely right, they don't even notice us.
No, they don't notice us.
They notice the occasion, the food, the environment. And when they leave, they turn around and say thank you, and they're thanking you, and they probably don't know what they're thanking us for.
No, because their purpose, they're not here to see us. No. At the end of the day, they don't come to see the waiters. No, the purpose is to come here and have a good time. We are just there to look after them, and we shouldn't be on top of them. No. You know, sadly, in some places, they do that because they train them, or they're trained to do that. It's not their fault. No. I feel sorry for them. Yeah. I do feel sorry for them because at the end of the day, it's not their fault.
They're trained to follow the script.
The script.
And
here's a book. They follow the book, the script. Yeah.
Do you have a book here? Do you have a script here for this stuff?
No, I don't.
No manual.
Well, there is a manual how to clean. And, but no facts. No. The fact I say to them, just be honest with your guest. Yeah. Don't try to fool your guest. Don't try to fool. It's the worst thing you would do, because very often that guest you don't know who he is. He knows maybe 10 times more than you do. Yeah. You know, I mean, I worked in places where they were serving chicken, but it was rabbit, and the guest didn't know because it's white meat. Yeah. You know, white meat. Don't try to do that. No. One day you're gonna get caught. Honesty will always pay off. Mm-hmm. You know, when you are dishonest. Dishonest with money, or dishonest with guests, or dishonest with anything. If it's not today, it's not tomorrow, it's the day after. You will be good. Very often, some waiters underestimate the guest. Underestimate the guest, and sometimes waiters speak. Here they have to speak English. No messing around. I got maybe only 5 or 6 British working at the Waterside. But everyone has to speak English because the guest has to understand what
everyone when I was sitting in reception came in, good morning, good morning. They may have communicated some behind the desk in a different language, but to me, good morning sir, always in. And so I'm going to have to finish you.
Yes,
because my audience may be sitting there.
They're going to fall
asleep. I really encourage you to, if you have never seen this book, please go and get it. It is fantastic to read. Lessons from the Master of Customer Service. I think even Jeffrey sort of said to me yesterday, that's the man. You are.
For me, Jeffrey, I look up a lot to him because, for different reasons. He's a great professional. He's maybe one of the most professional hotelier that I know. He's an hotelier. Yeah. But also, Mr. Gilardi has a heart.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Gilardi is a man. Mr. Gilardi is a father of family, because I know his family very well. And there is, like in all of us, in our job, there is the Mr. Gilardi at the Lanesborough, but there is also the Mr. Gilardi at home.
Yeah.
And I know both men.
Yeah.
And they're both great men.
Yeah.
Aren't the same. There is
And they're
Diego.
probably not that different.
No, they're very the same.
Yeah.
I met Diego at the Waterside, I met Diego up the road with my wife and my children. But it's the same Diego. Okay, Diego maybe at home is a dressing gown and t-shirt. At work is a tie and jacket, and I'm sure Jeffrey's the same.
Yes.
But you cannot just, you are the same. At the end of the day, you are the same. And,
sitting here talking to you today, and I've been so excited to come here today, but the message I really want you to get, who are listening to this video, is that this starts with passion.
Yep.
It has to start with passion.
It's a life.
It is a life. It's not a job.
It's not a job.
And if you're in a hotel, you own a restaurant, the people that you want to come and work with you or for you to deliver your vision to your guests are the people that are doing it because they are passionate about serving other people. And I think sometimes we take shortcuts. We need another person, so we get another person, and that person may not be passionate about it.
That's right.
I think you use the phrase, warming the seat.
Warming the seat, yeah.
But to be as good as the Waterside, to be as good as the Lanesborough, or as good as the hotels that Peter Hancock was talking about, you have to believe that your product is the best.
Yes, and you have to trust your product.
Trust your product.
Trust your product, yeah.
Trust your people.
Yeah.
Make sure they understand what you want the guest to experience from the minute, not just the minute they walk through the door, from the minute they hear about you.
Yeah.
And then when they leave, that relationship continues forever.
Yeah. The guest is not left till immediately. Once you pay, you go. No.
The guest is always the guest.
It's always the guest. The guest could be at the end of the road and call you. After he paid his bill an hour ago.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a problem, maybe not. It's still a guest.
Yeah.
The first person, then answer at the phone, that is the person. That is when you gain your guest or not. And something that I forgot to say is sometime in restaurants, it's very important also then the guest trust the waiter.
Yeah.
You have to gain the trust of your guest. Your guest has to understand that you're not there just to sell food or to sell wine or to sell a bedroom. You're there to give them a good time. And in doing so, if the guest trusts you,
your job is very easy. Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
And in anything that you sell, it could be in a hotel, it could be in a shop, it could be in a selling a car. If the person then coming to buy your goods, because at the end of the day they buy my goods, if that person trust you, you gain a client.
The way I talk about that, and you may have heard this before, is that your brand, your products and services, the whole thing, what that is everything to do with the relationship between your consumer and your products and services.
Right.
And that's your brand.
That's the brand.
And you need to protect that.
You have to
and
protect
work at it every day.
And every day you have to work at it, because if you let it go, it's very hard to bring it up, but it's so fast to let it. It will just disappear in a matter of and people will realize straight away, if you cut corner, if you let go, people notice straight away. You have to always to be there and try to reach excellence.
Yeah.
Can be excellency at 3 Michelin star, that's okay, but it can also be excellency at a 4-star hotel, in a coffee shop.
Absolutely.
Exactly the same. Is try to do your best. Your best on looking after your guests, on giving your guests what they want, and make them feel good. Make them feel when they leave, even if I go and buy 5 slices of prosciutto in a counter, if they like a young lady, she's good to me, I feel good when I leave that shop. I feel good. It doesn't have to be a car of £100,000. It can only be a very simple thing.
I was in Croatia recently,
yeah.
and we went to a very small little supermarket, and we were looking at cheeses, and I don't know Croatian cheeses. And the lady had very little English, but some English, and we had this conversation about cheese. I went out with this 2 blocks of cheese, but I felt so good because I learned about Croatian cheese.
And that lady was happy.
Oh, she was happy.
That lady was very happy because she knew that she made you happy.
Oh, yeah.
She knew, okay, she put maybe £5 in a till, that is okay. It's very
nice,
important too. Extremely important. But she was pleased. She gained trust of the client. You were happy. The boss was happy because the money was there, and everyone is happy. And for me, sometimes it's common sense. It is common sense.
It
sometimes.
is.
But for some people, it's not.
No.
And
I think when common sense is here,
Yeah.
it's going back to this thing about clarity and certainty. If you don't have the clarity of what it is that you need to do,
that's right.
you lose it.
If you don't trust what you do, if you don't feel comfortable with what you do, and secure with what you do, and feel proud of what you do as well, it shows. It does shows, and things will crumble. So
we're running out of time
Yeah.
because I know that your time is very busy, and I'd love to sit here all day.
Oh,
and do this, we've been very lucky because we've had this moment of your day. Thank you so much. I know service is going to be happy today.
Thank you very much, and a pleasure. Thanks.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and look forward to seeing you in episode number 5. Bye for now.